Welcome back to the Unwind podcast. This is a podcast that I wanted to start because I didn't like how surface level and interview like most business podcasts are. This is all about entrepreneurs, business people, professionals coming together, unwinding, slowing down and reflecting on their lives over a drink. That's really, really important. I don't want it to be super formal. I want it to be laid back and transparent. Hope you guys can get some value out of this. We've got tons of exciting guests lined up. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music or YouTube, please subscribe, show a friend. I really appreciate it. And now let's get into the pod. So welcome back to another episode of Unwind. A bit of a different setup today. We're in on a Saturday, so we really are unwinding for the weekend. I am met by Rebekah and Paul. Paul is an agency owner of a very successful agency. Rebekah, the reason why I think this is going to be a really interesting podcast with a cool dynamic, Rebekah and Paul are in a relationship, and I think there's loads of shit we can get into there about how you deal with that in business, how they've dealt with that, and there's tons of value there that we can bring from that. But I guess firstly, guys, welcome to the show. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to be here.
So as I just said, obviously Paul runs an agency. Rebekah is actually a UGC creator, so she's recently gone full time into that. She does a lot of shit for our brands at For You, and she's absolutely killing it. Let me just fucking hear Slack going crazy.
PTSD of the Slack.
God, you think it's just not much unwinding going on here with like Slack, but yeah. So firstly, just intro who you both are, and we'll get into things.
You go first.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Rebekah Shirley, and yeah, I'm a full-time UGC creator.
Is that it?
Yeah. Sorry, this is my first time being on a podcast. I'm so nervous.
You're grand. Yeah, I'm Paul Kennedy, Director of Lifelike Media Marketing. So we are obviously a marketing agency, do a lot of ad buying on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, but then we're also the creative agency as well. So we have 3 in-house videographers and editors. So we really want to build the creatives as well as run the creatives. So we'll have loads of time for you. Like, we've been following your journey.
No, I appreciate it.
Up at Hamby, because we kind of came from the same spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been awesome to see everyone's journeys.
It's interesting because, there's not many agencies. That's why I kind of resonated with you guys, because, you've built an agency. It's not just, say, paid performance. There's a lot of creative there as well, which I think there's such a fucking big opportunity there right now for agencies like that, because, I think in terms of the performance advertising market, there's a lot of noise there. There's a lot that's doing it, but I think those hybrids are the ones that are really shining through, and I think there's really big opportunity there. So I guess let's go back to the start, because I think for the first time, this is 2 guests that I've known, have spoken to many times, especially Rebekah more so recently with all the UGC that we're doing, that we'll get into in a bit. But firstly, talk a bit about, we'll start with you, Paul, on the agency side. Let's go back to the beginning, because for me, myself anyway, I don't really know much about your story. So yeah, go back to the start and, let's work chronologically through.
Cool. Quickly from the back, we went, I sort of left school, went traveling, all that there, and then came home and actually started an events company. So that was the first business I started, doing like university events and stuff like that. We sold out loads of like midweek events using social media, using Snapchat and Instagram. And what happened was the venues were coming to me then and saying like, how are you feeling a Wednesday? How are you feeling a Thursday? So I was like, we're just throwing a party and making a class video and throwing that video up, and everyone's sharing it, and it's going all around the country or whatever. So they're like, oh, can you make videos for us? So I started making videos for like the pub hospitality sector. New bars opening, we'd go in, shoot videos. But then what we quickly found was we would give them the video and they would either like just not post it or just like stick it up once, and no one would actually see it. So then we started to come back and go, oh no, you need to actually, start pushing this, using all of the social media channels. And, back then we were suggesting boosting posts, but obviously we learned very quickly that we needed to run some ad campaigns. So that's how we moved into paid. and jumped on the affluent program.
Yeah, big up.
Yeah, big up JP. And then we got into paid ads, and then they started pulling in all kinds of clients like dental, aesthetic clinics, all that.
Yeah. Do you have a niche now then? Do you kind of focus on one area or?
So we're actually very blessed, right? So we're getting a lot of inbound, but when we're outbound, we're niche in our outbound. So we're niche jewelry brands. So we've got some really, really good jewelry clients, both in luxury watches, luxury jewelry, but also in like e-com jewelry. So that's sort of our outbound messaging, and then inbound, we would sort of vet on other factors, like customer list, is the brand good? Do we want to work with them? So that's sort of what we're doing at this stage. But I know riches in the niches. Do we do it? It's hard. It's a hard one.
Yeah, it is difficult. I think we're going through that right now. Similarly with you guys, like we get a lot of inbound. I think we've become a lot better now of like not just saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
I think, we have roughly our areas that we like to focus within, and those that we do best in, and then you can optimize on that when you're reaching out to new clients. If you've got if you've worked with certain brands and you've done well for them, you can optimize that when you're then going to new clients saying we've done this in your industry already and we specialize in this market. But like you say, I think it's a difficult one actually making the move to just fully niching into one area.
Yeah, I think you take a wee dip in that transition period and then you'll grow again. But to finish to bring us back full circle, present day. So grew the agency. My brother Jack, he's just off screen. He's co-director, so we run it together. Got a small team, 8 of us, and now like with the whole UGC thing, we're also working with Rebekah as well. So to bring her into the story from the business side. Obviously, we've been going out now for 2.5 years. Yeah, nailed it.
So is that had you started the business by that point?
Yeah. So when did I start? When we started life, we were making this transition so quickly in business. We had the clients and we didn't have the brand. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we started life like
It was early 2020, wasn't it?
No, it's before that. It's before pandemic because we lost the clients. Like everyone's story. We lost
same
all the
shit.
clients,
It happened to us.
And Jack had to go work in a sausage factory.
Fucking hell.
And then within 2 weeks of him moving to sausage factory, we had to pull him back out again because we just got busy again.
So talk about that then. Talk about that, losing everything, the resilience that took, and then how did you then start growing the business again to that after that point?
Yeah, it was scary because we just got to that stage where I was able to quit like my part-time job. We were able to pull Jack out of his, and then very quickly lost everyone. A couple of guys paused, right? Weren't paying their marketing spend, but said they weren't going to leave us. But a lot of other guys left, and some even didn't pay their invoice, which is a whole big thing, like outstanding money. But what I found myself doing, because I had free time, was I was just like making videos on social and telling people how important social media was in this time. Like, this is an opportunity. Start making videos, start putting out value, start putting value into these groups. And then inbound started to grow from there very, very quickly.
Interesting. So you say most of your business comes through inbound now?
Yeah.
So talk about that. Like how's the sales side of the business structured? Like how have you scaled the business?
So it's very split. I'm acquisition, business development. Jack is fulfillment. So all I'm focused on is my network, making sure we have good case studies to put out there to show people, having the conversation about what we do. Because we are in Belfast, we're actually, I don't want to say like one of the main agencies. Not really anyone else is doing paid the way we do it, because the big agencies are still doing TV and radio. Yeah. They're not doing social. So we've been able to sort of stick out a wee bit because we do that. And then because we're doing good work, people are sort of passing our name on, and then we're shouting about our work. So we're very good at our own marketing in terms of putting out case studies, talking about it. Sort of died down a wee bit as we got busier, but yeah, and then people booking calls, and I give them a bit of an audit, and either we sell them in the full package, or if they're not ready, we're saying to them, you need to go off here, build up your social. So now you need a content package, and that's the downsell.
Yeah, nice. Nice. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of cross-selling going on in the business.
Absolutely. And then of course with the UGC side, so I feel like we want to pull Rebekah in here now, but we have sort of in the last 6 months been pushing that. And I mean, when did we start talking about UGC? Like for you, it was like a year ago.
Literally, it was a year ago. Whenever we were in Spain, I remember.
Yeah, and because you would be perfect for it. We can get into Rebekah's story in just a second.
Yeah.
And then so we're cross-selling to like the professional stuff that our team would do, and then also the stuff that Rebekah would do, and then obviously you had the paid ads as well. So
yeah, nice. So Rebekah, onto you then. Nice segue. Because we'll go to your story, the start of your story, where you're at now, and then I guess how you paths crossed, I guess.
We'll tell the meeting story in a minute.
Yeah, love it.
Tell that story. You're very good.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, let's go from the start then.
So yeah, going back a few years ago. So I actually graduated with a media broadcasting degree and done my travels to Australia, came home, went back to like an old part-time job that I had, and then kind of COVID hit. And
it's like the best bit.
And what?
2014?
No, we'll go into that. So yeah, in and out of jobs, obviously with furlough and stuff, and actually got offered a job over in Spain for a digital marketing manager.
Shout out Adam Barr.
Yeah, Adam Power,
So,
who will be on the podcast soon.
Funny story, I actually was supposed to take a job working in a COVID testing centre. Just literally like, because I'm just not good when I'm not working. And yeah, Paul had gone to Spain, met up with some of his connections and landed me a job, which was amazing. So then I just moved out to Spain. Then I worked as a marketing manager for over a year and a half, and that really opened my mind to this whole like digital online world. And obviously I've always kind of been a content creator in some aspect, like, you know, from I was Miss Northern Ireland in 2014, so I've always worked with brands on like social media.
You just brushed past that one. The modest, I was Miss Northern Ireland too, but nothing.
All those years
no
ago.
biggie.
So yeah, like it's always been like, if anyone asked me like, what's your dream job? It always was a content creator. But there's always just been something inside me that was like, I just don't know if I could ever make it, you know, a full-time thing. And obviously in my marketing role, I knew like, I obviously with working with Paul, that UGC was what brands needed and they weren't getting enough of. And, you know, there was a demand for it. And I mean, it just all kind of made sense. Like, I love being creative and love making videos. I love editing. And that's how I just kind of fell into it. And it's just sort of snowballed really from there. I probably have missed out so many things, but
I think it's like, it's sometimes it's one of those things. I hope people can get value from this, that, you know, just be patient, because sometimes like with say the UGC revolution that we're in now, and for anyone listening that's user generated content, you know, used for paid performance ads on TikTok, Facebook, etc. You know, maybe 3-4 years ago would have been a bit early for that. So it's just about like holding those passions and, you know, knowing when to execute on them and make the jump to take that risk. And I think you're a great example of someone who has, you know, had that passion, had that drive, and found the right time to transition into that, because you were doing that whilst you were also doing your full-time job, to the point where you, I'm guessing, were like matching or exceeding your salary, and then you made the jump to go in full-time with it. So
exactly, I've always kind of like been trying to do too many things at once, and I've never had the time to focus on one thing. And I knew this was my passion and it was really fulfilling me. And I just thought, while I'm young, I don't have anything, like no dependents, you know, just fuck it and go all in.
Yeah.
Also, like, because you were doing a lot of stuff like that with the makeup brands, because you were doing like YouTube, but showing off the products that you were using. And it was like the raw, authentic, like you weren't, there was sometimes you were brand ambassador, but there was other times where you weren't. You were just like, this is actually a product I use and I love, but the quality of the video was good. And, and that's what we needed. And it was like a year ago, we started having that conversation, because that's when you started to see it. Maybe it was even longer, but I feel like right now there is a massive bubble. Like every single time I open Twitter, I see a new person being like, just started my journey in UGC, and I'm getting like 100 likes.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So I guess obviously Rebekah did a lot of UGC for you, but talk a bit about that, but also how have you been able to, because I think people watching this now who want to go into UGC, there's a fucking huge opportunity there. It's a gold mine right now. I mean, like, you know, we're working with creators that have, I think there's this idea that you need a TikTok presence or you need like a social media presence. We're working with so many creators on UGC to create ads for clients who have had no previous experience, that have, are just very creative and good at what they do, but don't have a following and are absolutely killing it. Talk about that and like how you've grown your client base in UGC and the brands you're working with.
Well, Twitter really has like changed the game for me. I think Paul was the one that really pushed me to sort of like make a new Twitter account and just start taking that a bit more seriously. And literally I just went on, followed loads of people in the marketing world, followed loads of other UGC creators, and really like all of my leads are in, like all my work's inbound. Like I haven't actually had to reach out really to any brands like currently. And I think it's all about just being present and sharing value, sharing your work, and everything sort of will follow with that.
So what does that look like then? Like what's your Twitter strategy, as it were? What kind of stuff are you posting about?
I don't have a Twitter strategy at the minute, but that's what I was saying to Paul, and Paul's always like, have you tweeted today? Have you tweeted today?
I am being a dick about it. Like,
it's great that you can like push each other.
Yeah, it's because I see the potential, like, and I know how good you are, and like the brands that are hitting you up are class brands, like, and the brands you've been bringing are awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm like, is you only scratching the surface, like, and that's why I am a wee bit like that. Like, and maybe we can get into that maybe from the relationship side, because I did say like I'm gonna stop asking you to tweet or like saying about that, because it's a bit annoying, isn't it?
I think because this is really like my first month fully in UGC, I'm still trying to find my flow. Yeah. And I have, like, this past month has been crazy with my workload and just trying to sort of get everything done. But, you know, I definitely do want to have more of a presence and, like, you know, have a Twitter strategy, and like I want to just have like value bombs everywhere. I
was gonna say, like, there's such an opportunity, because I'm not just saying this because you're here, but we've worked with like 200 plus creators now, like regularly, and genuinely I'd say you're the best creator we've worked with. Yeah, so
thank you so much. But
I think one thing to say with that is that from the first video, so one of our clients, Mela Comfort, like big, you know, huge weighted blanket company and like, you know, bedding comfort, it's really big brand. I think that was the first client that we did work with together, and I noticed a big difference from when we did that, and then maybe when we worked together like 2 months later, and the work you were doing then, like there was clearly like the amount of practice you'd had in between that, because I just like you'd grown leaps and bounds in terms of like the quality of the content that you created. So I think there's a lot in that. Like if you just fucking stick to something and practice and just keep getting more deals, you know, you quickly improve as a creator.
And it's like researching, watching other, like, I'm in a Facebook group, and it's just, we post like good Facebook and TikTok ads, and it's just watching that.
What's that
like,
called, out of interest?
It's actually Social Savannah's.
Oh yeah.
Ads. Page.
She's massive.
She's huge, and like, you know, it's really good, and you're like, it's good for inspiration, and it's amazing like what you can learn. And as well, like I'm in a Slack channel with other UGC creators, and we have like a critique me Slack channel. So like if we're doing stuff, and they're like, you know, you could change this, or it's good to get kind of other people's feedback on your work too. So you're constantly evolving and constantly learning new things. And yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, it's important to have those people around you, those like-minded people. Yeah.
Speaking of then, so talk a bit about how you guys got together, and, you know, how I'd like to hear it from both sides, how that's, you know, the difficulties there that have been being in a relationship when, you know, as a business owner, and, you know, how's that looked?
Well, the origin story is I have a client out in the Maldives who owns like a big guest house villa on this island, and dream client, right? He was basically asking me to do I have another side project, passion project, scuba diving. We take people on scuba diving trips. he basically wanted me to come and bring a trip out to the Maldives, but I was like, nah, like we can't afford that. They're all students, whatever. So I was giving him all this value. I was like, make content, get influencers, do this, do this, do this. And then one day he just comes back and goes, listen, we've got a budget. Can you come out, bring a gang and make the content that you've been telling me to make? So I was like, right, unbelievable. I needed to build a team.
What a fucking dream.
Exactly. So Rebekah and I had met once at an event, and she was going to Australia. So we were talking about Australia because I'd just come home. And then we sort of just kept DMing, right? When you were away, she had some questions about a GoPro, and I was like, I know cameras, this is my ins. So I give her some GoPro knowledge. And then eventually when it came time to build a team for the Maldives trip, I was like, listen, do you want to come to the Maldives? Like, I know I only met you once, like 8 months ago, but we have a project on, and we're also bringing another girl because it's from her modeling agency back in Belfast. So another girl who would be her friend and a friend of mine as well. So I felt like she should be more comfortable, whatever. And yeah, you said, yeah, you flew from Bali.
Yeah, I was in Bali at the time.
Yeah, you flew from Bali on your own over to Maldives, had to stay over in some like really random hostel until you got
it was so crazy.
A boat to us. And then as soon as she landed, because we wanted to get the shot of, you know, the guests coming off the boat, she literally arrived with the cameras like in her your face. I felt so bad after. But
Did you know that was going to happen?
Yeah, like I was so nervous because I was like, this is the first time like I'm meeting Paul, and then like I just saw all of these cameras and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't like we could even brief her. It was just like the cameras were rolling, and then as she came off, it was like a hug, and then like we had to hold hands and walk down this like beautiful little like picturesque.
Oh, what? So you had to act like a couple almost?
Yeah, we had to act like a couple
That's
immediately.
So funny.
And then obviously like Maldives was great crack. So you kept traveling after that. We kept talking, and then whenever you came home, we went on our date properly. And then just that's where the relationship was actually forged from content, which is really interesting. Yeah. And then everyone was good. What was the side part of that question then? How do we?
So it would be interesting just knowing like how, because I think there's a lot of people that would be listening to this that are in relationships. Like I spoke about this with Jordan and Joe as well on our podcast that we did, I think episode 2. And I think there's a lot of business owners that go through, you know, a difficulty in relationships. How do you manage that? How have you dealt with that? And I think it'd be interesting, even if there were rocky moments, to like talk about that.
Yeah.
I think it's been really good. Like whilst you've been asking that question, I've been trying to find
gun to your head.
A negative example.
I mean, there's no negative, like an actual, nothing happened, but I do remember this.
It's all coming out.
I suppose it was obviously I didn't have a business. I was just working as a receptionist. You had your business. You were so busy. And how do I say this and not sound like a twat?
Just sound like a twat. It's all right.
I was quite selfish in a way. Like, you know, if we were on holidays or something, and, you know, if we were like, you're in bed and you're on your phone, like replying to emails, and I would just be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? What are you doing?
I think that's like really interesting though, because like, you know, that's completely normal.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think that's something that does happen a lot where, you know, maybe the one partner who is the business owner at the time, the other partner doesn't quite understand that. And then it's when you're trying to disconnect and you're on holiday or something and they are on their phone or doing something that can cause issues.
Yeah, exactly. And like, if something comes up last minute, do you know what I mean? And it's just...
I know, I have done that a lot. But don't you see it now? Because this is what you text me the other day and you're like, I feel like I should be working because you're your own business owner now. And I've always felt like that. And I maybe lose other people. I have this like anxiety when I'm not working. Like I should be productive right now.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna make it. And then whenever you sent me that message the other day, I was like, you get it.
I know.
Because you're like fully self-employed now. It's all on you. And she sent like, I feel like I should be working. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, nice.
Sometimes like we would just be watching like a movie on Netflix and you'd be like, oh, I have anxiety, like I need to work. And I'm just like, roll my eyes. I'm like, what? Like, I don't get it. And
then it's like a movie where
well, it's when you're your own baby, isn't it? Like when you're working for someone else, it's like, you can't fucking, you know, because it's like you're not doing it for yourself. But when everything you do is for your, you know, your own path, then it's...
Loads of movies inspire me though as well. That's the other thing. If I'm, you know, like the come up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I just want to bang out a lucid chart. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, what I'm about to do. I just get that. And then like I put off the movie, but So I'm working on it.
So when that happened then, in those moments where, by the sounds of things, you probably like bit your tongue a bit.
Yeah, literally.
Because this is the first time he's heard it. But like, how did you deal with that then from your side?
It was, to be fair, it was just something like I just had to bite my tongue and just really internalize it, because I didn't want to add, you know, if there was pressure, you know, from a client, I didn't want to have that added pressure then on Paul with being like the naggy girlfriend. Or I was very aware that like you didn't want to, not that you didn't want a relationship, but you're cautious of having a full-time business and like having time for a girlfriend. So I wanted to be as supportive as I could, but at the same time, like, just bite the tongue whenever you don't get to do stuff there and then when you want to.
So how are you now that you're both business owners, you know, because obviously it is important to disconnect, right? Yeah. And now you're both in the same position. How are you going to do that?
Well, I'm excited for it. Like, it feels already great, because if you need something from me, like the video, for example, with that pillow up there, like I'm able to just be,
mate,
you can use me, you can lean on me. You know?
Got to talk about this. This, one of our brands, there's like a pillow for, sorry to interrupt, but no, it's funny. Paul made a great little cameo in a piece of UGC Rebekah did for us recently, and it's great. It was great stuff. It's all about his snoring. And
I
how
snore
Rebekah
as well, which is completely.
It was so relevant. It was so relevant.
Yeah.
But Paul, you're very good on camera, and you're very confident when you're speaking and things like that. So, and it's good because you're a marketer as well. So, what are you doing?
Trying to get the mic.
If I need advice, or if I'm maybe in like a creative slump, and you're like, you should try this, or maybe if my idea is just shit, you're like, no, don't do that, do this.
There's no shit ideas. That's the other thing. Like, and you can probably speak on this as well, Lucas. There's times where we think, what creative do we want to put out? And then you have like A and then B, but no, someone thinks it's this one and someone thinks it's that one, but you don't know. So you put them both out, and the market decides. And that's why whenever we're talking about UGC packages, I'm like, those bigger packages, those 20, we don't want 20 different videos. We want maybe, like 5, 6, 7 different ones, but then we want a similar video with a different hook, or maybe a different trending sound, because it'll get picked up differently.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean? So they don't always have to be completely original and fresh.
Oh, not at all. I think, one thing we do is like, we very much optimize on the data and like what's working, and then we'll push that. So for instance, like we had a client where we must have done like 12 different hooks, and the one that fucking worked over the rest of them was about, you know, I've got this present for my boyfriend, just bought me this present, and the relationship aspect of the hook worked so well. So in the next round of creatives, we optimized on that, and there's, you know, then just looked at different ways we could use relationships and, you know, getting a present, or you know, this is the best present for my boyfriend, etc., how we could use that and manipulate that in different ways to push that forward.
Yeah, I said that because we just did one with using the word niece. It's like, I got this for my niece.
Nice.
But now I want to keep it.
Nice,
right?
yeah.
Good hook if anyone wants that hook. So I got this for my niece, but now I want to keep it. I was like, I don't rate niece, because like not everyone has a niece. So I was like, put in friend. So like, all right, we'll do both. And niece won. And I was so sure.
My goodness.
Yeah, niece won in the end. I was so sure friend would win, because it's such a bigger pool. But then I suppose if you, again, go narrower, who knows?
Yeah.
But that's the important testing.
It's funny you say that, because literally I've just got a piece of creative in. We're testing something with one of our creators, Tilly, and it's the Essence Vault, who I know you've done a lot of work with, Connor. Do you know Connor?
I only know Connor because I listened to the other pod you worked with him, with Matt.
He's coming on in a few weeks.
Oh, is he?
And he's from like Belfast. So we need to all connect.
Killing it.
We've Twitter connected.
Absolutely killing it. But anyway, so creative that we just completed for him is, again, it's like how do you, if it's this girl Tilly, and it's obviously the Essence Vault is his brand, and it's his, you know, affordable perfume, and he's like, presents you can get your boyfriend if you're a broke bitch, basically. But then at the end, she's like, she's basically going through this story, and I think that's what, you know, effective UGC, you're telling a story in a way that there's a problem that you're overcoming, And if there's some kind of twist that you can bring into that, that works really well. So towards the end of it, she's like, smells it. And then she's like, actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it for myself kind of thing. So, but I guess on that then, from both your perspective, you both make a lot of UGC. I think there's tons of value the three of us can give here in this world. What is your process for creating UGC? Like when, I guess we'll start with you, Rebekah, and move to you, Paul. Like when you work with a brand,
Yep.
you have a partnership with a brand, they send you a brief. What's your process after that?
Well, usually I love to see like other examples that they like, whether it's, you know, a competitor brands or even ads themselves that have performed particularly well. That gives me a good indication on what, like for inspiration, and just kind of gives me like an overall vibe. And yeah, it's just like, obviously I spend so much time like researching, going on to the ads library, see what's trending, what's working. And it's great because a lot of my clients do kind of give me that creative freedom, so I can just sort of do what I want. And like, I love that, because sometimes whenever you're what's the word I'm looking for, when you're tied to something really specific, like it can be quite difficult. Whereas yeah, it's nice to kind of be able to put your input into it and kind of have your creative freedom on it.
Yeah, so that it's interesting you say that from that side, because again, that's one thing I hate, brands that just fucking write a script for you.
Yeah.
Just expect it's like not authentic. I think the best UGC is authentic, and it's people that actually, you know, struggle from these problems and this product actually helps them. And also, you know, if that aside, they've just got to like the product, or like, you know, it's got to be real. So that's interesting from that side. So like, it'd be interesting from a perspective of like a brand watching this, what for you has been the best way brands or agencies have given you briefs, have given you what you need to create great UGC?
Honestly, I think your briefs are...
That's the right answer.
I am actually not just saying that, but like I think I mentioned this to you, like your briefs are just spot on.
Oh, I appreciate
Do you know what
it.
I mean? Like you tell
Give us a copy.
Yes, you say what, but do you know what I mean? It's like you say what you want, or what the brand, what you're looking for, but you still have that creative flexibility and creative freedom, which is so important, because obviously you don't want to go in totally blind. You still want to have, like, there's still expectations, and it's good for a brand to say like, this is what I'm after, and then kind of go from there. But you know, sending the example creatives as well, what you're after, even the, you know, the hooks.
Yeah.
You know, it's really good. So that is very helpful from a creator standpoint.
I think I found like actually giving because we do like a brand development section where we build out, you know, who the customer personas could be, because then that gives us an idea of where we can find the right people to create the UGC. Building out those customer personas, like the skepticism and the persona one, the skepticism and the problem, what is the discovery, what is the features, advantages, benefits of the product, and then the case study. So they see all these different personas, all these pain points, and then it's like, which one do I relate to?
And it sparks creativity, and it sparks like inspiration.
Yeah.
There's one that you may have never would have thought of, and it's like, that's a really, really good angle.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Following on from that, we've gone super deep in the personas. Like one of what Jack and the boys are doing is actually building the avatar, because you probably understand this whenever you ask the brand like, who's your ideal customer, and if they say, oh, like anyone, you freak out. You're like, no, it's not.
It's weird, isn't it, how like few brands actually know that?
I know. So we've been pushing that for a while, like getting people to figure out their ideal customer so we can obviously target correctly. But when we've been going a little bit more broad, it's the creative that sort of does the targeting in a way, like who is this talking to?
Yeah.
So like, quick example, the other day we were shooting for, you know, someone who was anxious, and then we had that versus like the nail biter, and then that versus like the person who likes to gift things. So we were like teeing off all those different personas whilst we were creating, and it makes your life easier, and there's still all the creative freedom, but at least you have some structure. Maybe like the brand's key USPs are in there. And I think that's what's been really good for us recently. Like I saw even just that process made the creation easier and made the ad buying easier and the results better.
Yeah. So firstly, what's working for you right now in your creative? And also, what's your process when you work with either a creator or a brand? How does that look?
Yeah.
Just gonna get these lights on again.
No worries. Well, Actually, we did a new thing. I think this is the first time we did this. When did we do that shoot? Thursday?
Yeah.
So a couple of days ago, we went and did a shoot in a beach and a forest. But we had our full team there, so we were shooting video and photo, professional. But because we had Rebekah as the model, we sort of had UGC as well.
Nice.
So it's the first time we've actually done everything in one. And we've got so many, like, I would say hundreds of creatives out of that. So
Wait, so sorry, so you batch created that many in one go?
So literally it was
That's crazy.
3 locations, and like we parked the car. You got 3 different areas. You got beach, forest, and then like little like nice wall aesthetic. We had our photographer Matt, the shooting beautiful photography, like the real high professional stuff, because it was jewelry product. It still does really, really well, but of course so does UGC. So Rebekah in between shots was doing stuff with her phone, like out in the beach, like taking a walk because it's mindful jewelry. And then we also had our videographer shooting like a promo video. So
That's mad that you did it all in one go.
yeah, we kind of just like each person knew their deliverable, so it was kind of just like we have a few hours, like just take time to get what you want, and it worked really well.
How do you like plan that effectively? Like, did you have a schedule? Did you?
No, we didn't overthink it.
Yeah, nice.
Like I said, we knew I was sort of I'm not a camera operator at the moment anymore, so I was kind of just at the back just saying like, don't forget the persona.
Yeah.
Like, let's pick up the prop of the book because we want people like taking time like reading. We brought the journal in, so we just brought the props and just made sure that they were being used, but we didn't be like 9 to 10 is this. You know, it was a wee bit more free than that. I thought it was better.
Find as well, sometimes those schedules just never work.
Yeah, we've tried this really tight.
Yeah, it comes back to what you were saying. Like sometimes when you're too regimented and like you're too much kind of held in a box, it kind of restricts the creativity, doesn't it?
For sure.
Yeah. Was there a part to that?
Yeah. So then, what I guess for both of you, what hooks or types of UGC is like performing well for you at the moment?
Yeah. Should probably pull in the media buyer. I am guilty for not actually being in the back end as often of my ads.
Careful with the tapping, by the way. Just
Oh shit!
I know you're
I have a tap. That's why, that's why I need these rings.
It probably wouldn't be picked up, but just in case.
What's working? I actually don't know. Probably loads of things.
Yeah.
But there's a lot being tested. A lot of TikTok stuff is working. I think we're trying to get close to 50-50 spend. And I think towards the end of the year, we're trying to outspend on TikTok versus Instagram, Facebook. But yeah, in terms of hooks, we have a big deck of hooks. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, nice.
We have a Google sheet just full of hooks.
You know, weirdly, like you actually, you kind of kickstarted my UGC journey at Hammy Media, because we weren't doing it at that point, and I wasn't working with Joe and Ollie. Obviously, we've recently been growing a TikTok first agency for you advertising, and I hadn't really done it that much before that point. And I remember speaking to you about it because I didn't have any creators, I didn't have a network. And I remember you sent me a lot of information, which was really, really useful. I think one of the things, again, we use the AIDA format, we always have done. Yeah. But the fact that I saw that in the because I think people look at UGC and they undermine actually the work that goes into it. They just think, oh, just fucking take a product, wave it around, say how good it is, and that's it, and that's going to perform well. But there's so much more to it. So seeing that when you'd shown the AIDA format, which for those listening is attention, interest, desire, and action, like the format that to run that through. So attention, obviously the hook in the first 1 to 2 seconds, you know, the interest where the personal story and account building that into it. And then obviously the desire and the action where the desire and through to the interest, the solution to that problem, and then into the call to action. So it was interesting seeing that from your side, and yeah, you actually kind of kickstarted that UGC journey for me.
Awesome, that was good because you're absolutely smashing it now. Like you have a full thing because we're balanced between. Actually, don't know this. Are you doing paid ads or are you just not here?
So at Hammy Media, like we've actually fully separated ourselves from media buying. So we've tried it, like, obviously I came from film school and a film background, went into marketing, left and started the company, and you know, started social media marketing. Then I was like, do you know what? Unfair advantage. I know film. I can shoot. Yeah. I might as well offer that as well. Did that, and then as we've grown, we've realized actually that's what we do best. Yeah. And rather than being a jack of all trades, master of none, I'd rather focus in on what we do best, because we just went too generalized. We suddenly started trying to offer absolutely everything. Yeah. And the best thing that happened to us was like the start of this year, just like focusing on 4 key services, what we do best, and just working with great partners who can then offer the performance.
Yeah, definitely. Because we're sort of positioning as like growth agency, right? Because we have it all in house. We have paid ads, email, and creative. So there's no real bottlenecks. Like if you're doing paid ads, you want the email to back it up. Yeah. And then
great for like cross-selling, like you say.
Yeah, exactly. But that's when you limit less. You have less customers, but potentially more value per customer.
I don't think there's a right or wrong with it. Like I say, I think there's agencies killing it, doing, you know, more variety, like you guys are fucking killing it. And, you know, I think it just depends the type of agency you want to build. Like, we really just want to double down on just creative. Yeah. And, you know, that comes with other bottlenecks where, you know, we're not so much in control of performance. But I think that's why me coming in at For You Advertising as, you know, more director there, they obviously offer performance there. So from a UGC perspective, actually Hammy Media, we're not actually doing that right now. So
is all the work that you guys are doing For You?
Through For You, exactly. Yeah, because technically still there's a lot under Hammy Media. Like I think we're still invoicing through Hammy Media, but we, for the most part now, we're like transitioning everything over to For You, and we're like hiring in creative strategists in-house there now. So as soon as that's all in-house there, everything will be moved over to that agency. That's awesome. For that.
Because I remember speaking to you, but even since then, like we've learned so much and sort of changed the way we do it as well. Because do you remember having that conversation about like influencers?
Yeah.
And I was like, don't go influencers because they actually don't know social media the way everyone thinks they do because they're influencers. But they really don't get it. If you look at the work they put out. So, and we were actually having this conversation on the train with one of the clients, and they picked like 3 influencers, and we we're like, we don't like.
And they don't give a shit as well. Like I find, exactly. It's not, the following isn't as important as you think, especially if it's being used for paid medium. Like it's a different thing if you're trying to get in front of their audience. But yeah, I think that's important.
It's the creators knowing how to create, like what you and Rebekah have been speaking about. Like hook, story, offer, AIDA.
Well, it's like, I think one thing, the biggest mistake I see with creators is that they don't understand the difference between like making a TikTok that is, the objective is to generate views, and making a piece of UGC that has to convert and make sales. Talk a bit about that, Rebekah, from your side. Like, because I think, you know, hooks is a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. For someone who's making a piece of organic, opening, hi guys, I've got this product. That through an ad isn't going to capture that attention. Yeah. So you've got to angle it differently. How have you kind of found that journey?
I mean, it's difficult sometimes, like, especially at the beginning of my journey, like I would tend to sort of ramble on a little bit too much, and like Paul just drills it down, like needs to be quicker, like just jump straight into it. You know what I mean? So a lot of it was trial and error for me at the beginning. But like, as I say, seeing more and more UGC ads, like it just sticks in your head, like first 3 seconds. What's the hook? What do you know, what's the objective? And sort of flowing through really from that.
So what advice do you have then for a young UGC creator getting started? Obviously you're killing it now, like you've got brands approaching you all the time, you're doing like a lot there, gone full time. What advice do you have?
Well, what I did and what, you know, was great for my portfolio, take products that you use, that you already have, that you've bought yourself, and make UGC videos. And that's what I did. Like I did it for about 4 or 5 different brands, a couple of that I was already a brand ambassador for. So, and practice. And if it's a product that you've bought and you know that you use every day, like it's going to be authentic. Like you love the product, that's why you use it. Yeah. And for me, and like a friend of mine who's actually just started her UGC journey, that's what I advised her to do. Just take products that you have already, that you know that you love, and it works well, and you know that'll sell itself in the video. And yeah, that's what it is. Just practice, you know, working with your angles when you're filming, with your editing. Like everything can always be improved, you know, like I'm still learning. Like, you know, even now, like I can see going back to my portfolio pieces, like my work has improved like so much, and I'm really harsh on myself, and sometimes I wouldn't actually like give myself credit, you know, for the work, but sometimes it just takes looking back and reflecting and thinking, oh my goodness, like I would have changed so many things about that video. Had I have known what I know now.
That's the thing.
Exactly, all the time, so much. So I guess from that then, Paul, like a couple of things, let's say you, business owner a year ago to now, what are some of the things in that time that you think you've improved on, and what advice do you have for someone who's going on that journey?
So for the last year, my role is like I said, more business development. So I'm hiring, which I've never done before. So it's been really difficult. I'm currently hiring. Any media buyers, get in touch. I actually took a lot of value from the last pod about building pods.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to implement that. But what I've learned is, I hate to say this, but hire fast, fire fast. So we had another guy, and like they're good at what they do, but they need to fit into the team. They're really good media buyer, but culture, that's the word. Like they're not, you know, 'cause especially when you have a remote team, how do you make people who are on Slack and in their bedrooms have some crack? So here's a good one. Exactly not, you can't just do this every day, but we were very lucky. One of our videographers was out filming a client in Vegas, and we transferred some money to him from the business account, and everyone in the Slack picked a number, and in Vegas he made this vlog of him. Everyone picked a number on the roulette table, and he put the money on the table, and he actually did it one at a time, which if he had done it everyone in one spin, we would have won big. But he did it one at a time. Ended up nobody won. But what he did was the last leftover money he put on the red or black, and he won all the money back 7 spins in a row.
That's sick.
So it's just finding ways to have like a bit of crack with your team. That's what I've been working on. So like I'm developing myself as a leader, developing myself as a director of a company, bringing in business, speaking with bigger clients, and closing business. So that's where my developments come from in the last year.
Let's just touch on that then, because I think that's a big part of my progression as well. It's that realization at the end of last year that I was still going on 1-2 shoots a week, and you know, I got a consultant and we were talking about it, and it's like when you're not in the office and operating the business and working on the business rather than in the business, that is detrimental and it's slowing you down. So 100%. I made that decision like from January that I just wasn't going to be involved in any delivery from that point. And it's the best thing that I could have done, because, you know, I can now go away and the team will work because they're not reliant on me. The clients aren't reliant on me. I think it's, you know, what is great as well is that I'm now not necessarily, well, if there's big problems, I would be, but not necessarily if there's something they want that won't come to me. You know, there's the teams there that they know how to be media for, not Lucas. So
exactly. So you need to have someone that you can lean on. Otherwise, you're just going to be at that same level. So we have Jack, we're pretty lucky that we're brothers, right? So anything fulfillment side, I'm just kind of basically saying to him, like, I don't want to have to deal with it. And likewise, he just trusts that the business is going to grow, that I'm going to go and handle that. And he just knows that we're going to grow. And whenever I pop someone into the Slack, new client on board, boom, they'll get onboarded. And then same side with the media, we have a media manager. He's client facing, he's talking, he's sending their invoices, he's booking the shoot dates. Like even that last shoot we were on, he was booking you for the Thursday. It wasn't me going, yo, Rebekah, do you want to do a shoot?
Yeah.
It was Jack, Hannah, 2 Jacks. So it's having those people to lean on is so important. So identify what direction you want to go in the next year. Like what's your core role based on your strengths, and then hire if you don't, or promote someone internally to take on those other responsibilities so you don't have to touch them. Yeah,
I completely agree. Delegation is so important. It's just about establishing what you are best at and then hiring people that are fucking better than you in all those other areas.
Eliminate, automate, delegate.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something I'm working on as well. All the systems side. I love it.
Talk about that then, like how, because I think podcasts don't get into the nitty gritty of this, and it sounds boring, like the systems, all this, but that's what fucking scales a business, you know. Talk about what are you systemizing right now? What do your internal systems look like?
So they're good. I think they're really good when you zoom out, but whenever they're stress tested. There's areas where we're still a wee bit, a wee bit hands on. But I have another mentor who's specifically helping me to build my systems whilst we scale. So what we're doing right now, so everything's in Asana. Like it's Asana and Slack.
Right.
Like your job is in there. We use Zapier to connect all those things. So if a job comes in, like if someone books in a calendar, it pops into Slack. The people who need to know about it know about it. And then there's things that take time. So like proposals are already built. They're in PandaDoc. If someone signs one, the invoice is automated, like that sort of thing. The emails are already created. And then when it comes to onboarding, this is actually probably a nugget for people. Look at doc.us. We've just started with them. It's basically an onboarding platform. So we send them a link rather than sending an email and doing everything back and forth in email. They get the link and they have everything. So they have the deliverables. They have like a job form they have to fill out. So we have all their information. We have their logos. We have their color schemes. We have everything that we need to understand their business goes in there. Their service documents signed, all that, and you can assign it to people. So say you were my client and we were onboarding you, you would be able to assign it to your team. Oh, they need logos. All right, boom, you go get those logos. And it's connected to everyone's calendar. So it's not like I need to be reminding, hey, did you see my previous email? It's just all done. So finding little softwares like that to lean on, it's just so time saving because it's not manually doing everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We use something similar, in terms of like an onboarding dashboard, and it's onboarding is actually so fucking important.
Yeah.
Like that first impression is everything. Like because again, we didn't really prioritize. We prioritized the delivery once the client was up and running, but we didn't actually prioritize the importance of how on it you've got to be in those first few weeks, because that first impression is so important. And looking back in hindsight, the relationships that maybe didn't materialize in the way we wanted them to, they're the ones that, maybe we didn't onboard in the smoothest way we could have.
Yeah, actually, here's a good one for you. You may or may not do this. So we have a media system and it's on the job, like everything's sort of on Asana, like task by task. You turn up early, you shoot the shit for a bit, you have a bit of crack, then you scout out the area, do the job, whatever. Then after you come home, so whether it's a video job, even if there's no photography involved, you have to shoot like 5 photos for the client. After the job, when you come back, you empty your hard drive. You're required, like our team are required to send over a rehash email, talk about how good the shoot is. We've just emptied the hard drive. Clips look great. You came out really well on camera. And then send them the 5 photos. Here's 5 photos from today that you can just talk about in your social media. And they love that because it's instant. You know what I mean? They've just spent, quite a bit of money back, like on you and your team for these assets. And then, like you said, the relationship's great then because they feel so good. They've just finished the shoot. Maybe they're nervous and then they're getting hit with this email about how well it went and some photos from their day to remember it. You know what I mean? Some behind the scenes and some like professional photos for them to use. And that's been getting a really good like reaction from our clients.
Yeah, nice. I like that. So I'd love to hear one horror story, or everyone's got those stories where working with a client, a brand, one bad experience and maybe how you overcame that or how you dealt with it from both of you, I guess.
You go first. I don't think. I'm just trying
Jack,
to think.
what's a horror story? Oh gosh. No names. We had a e-com client really early on. Actually remember them hitting us with all these questions like, what's our CPA going to be if we join with you? Like, what's our ROAS going to be? And I remember going into I remember actually Adam Power ringing me because I had written this into the Slack group. Like, I'm trying to close these guys. They're asking me all these mad questions. And he's like, mate, if they ask you that, they're fucking bonkers. It's like, he's like, tell them you don't know, like, you can't see the future. And I was like, I can't see the future. Like, I was like trying to get this client over. And then it was that should have been a red flag, but I just really wanted to get the close, and they were a nightmare. The product wasn't tested. They had no marketing outside of, they had this brilliant product idea. They spent all this money on creating it, and then they just sort of like handed it over to us to be successful.
Yeah, that's it. Startups, like, I will never work with a startup now, because without that proof, we're not magicians, we're, marketers, and we're not there to, without that proof of concept, we don't know if the product is actually going to work in the market. And if it doesn't work, it's then going to be fucking blamed on us.
Yeah, and it was. And that's why we now have 1,000 customers as an onboarding requirement. So
Yeah.
we can like use their customer list and proof of concept. But yeah, no, that was harsh.
Yeah. Rebekah, do you any brand stories working?
Literally, I was just thinking, thankfully, I haven't had any horror stories probably as of yet. I'm sure something will happen over time. But I'm trying to think, like, not as of yet.
No.
I've been very lucky.
Nice.
Lucky. But sorry, I don't have an exciting story there. But in the Slack channels that I'm in, you do hear some mad stuff, or like people be like, avoid this,
Yeah,
avoid this brand,
blacklist.
avoid this person, you know. So yeah, you just have to sort of, I think, trust in your gut as well when you're speaking with clients and stuff. And yeah,
Nice.
important.
So I guess, like, you know, we'll wrap up soon, but it'd be interesting just to discuss like a real low point that you've both had in your careers, and, you know, how did you deal with that? How did you overcome that?
Low, high, like.
I guess just, you know, with the business, was there anything was there anything there that stood out as something that, you know, was going really wrong, and we all have those times as business owners where we question it all. We're like, is this fucking worth it?
I question it all. Often, like, the thing that's on my mind a lot is that, like, people have like mortgages and dogs on my ability to do what I say I'm gonna do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like families and shit, and it is hard. Like, I felt really sort of trapped, and like, I need to do this because how's Jack gonna pay his mortgage? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones, but it does get you. And then there's the complete other side of the coin where you're like, we are fucking invincible. Like, we are class, and everything's just hitting, momentum's hitting, and you're like, this is how you do it. It's great. This is how business grows, and everything just flows. And you think that
it's that Tom Hanks thing, isn't it? Where it's like, this too shall pass. Whether something's good or going really well or really bad, you just got to remind yourself in your head, this will pass.
Yeah.
So like, you never get too arrogant when things are going really well.
Yeah.
And you never get too down if things are going badly, because
I don't really have I can't put my finger on like an event or a moment, but I do have those moments.
What about you and your brother? Like, because again, work, that's one thing we haven't actually spoken about, working with family. You know, how have you found that working together?
He just does whatever I say. Like. No, it's actually really good. I don't know, like, it's never been a problem. It's never been an issue. It's been simple, like, because at the start we threw him in the deep end. I basically was like,
what's the age difference?
6 years. So I'm 28. Jack's 20. I turned 23 there the other day. So I have my role, he has his role. We're in our own lanes. Every now and then I'll ask him, like, what's going on? Is everything good? Right, okay, that's fine. And I just let him get on with it. He knows how to manage a team. He's very good client facing. Sometimes we'll have a wee like disagreement or tiffle on something, and I'll be a wee bit stubborn on it, but you just get over it. Like, we work on the same desk as well, so it's and we like train together, like live together. So it's not like we don't have a weird relationship. It's
Yeah.
I think sorry.
Go on.
No, go ahead. I think as well, just kind of from like an outsider's perspective, if I'm working in the office, like, your personalities really complement each other, and you both have like respect for like each other's tasks and each other's time, which is really, really important.
I know.
And you work really,
It's
really well
important.
together.
It's so important. And again, because Molly works for me, she's my cousin. She's head of design here, and yeah, we definitely went on a journey of how to deal with that, because like you say, you just have to really respect each other, and there's got to be a line for everything, even if you are family. So yeah, I mean, do you have any actionable advice there for someone who's looking to like go into business with like a family member?
I would say do it. It's been pretty positive for us. Like, you know that person better. Like, you can almost make a long-term decision because you know what they're going to be like. They're committed. Like, we both own the business, so we have the same goals. And, you know, it's one of them ones where it's not awkward. There's no, how do you say, if you need to shout at someone, it would be awkward, but we don't really shout at each other. We're just like, as brothers be like, what are you at? Like, wise up, that's stupid. And then it's not like there's no like a disrespect because we're brothers. So, and then that's just, that'll pass. But no, I think it's been really, really positive and we're on a good trajectory and we're excited to keep growing it.
So finally then, final question for you both. What is next? Rebekah with the UGC, Paul with the agency. What's that end goal?
Be fully booked month on month.
She's fully booked in of June already. What are you talking about?
But yeah, just I don't have like.
Does hear us?
I feel I've already kind of hit like, you know, a goal in itself, like going full time. Like I didn't expect to do that until at least later on in the year, or maybe like next year. Like I didn't think I would get as busy as what I have. So I think, and I've kind of surprised myself, and working more, just have those fully booked months and learning, spending more time like learning about how to like grow and scale and systems in place and things like that, things I'm not so good at, like that business side of things. So I have a lot to learn, but Paul has been like amazing at helping me and supporting me through the whole thing. And
do you think you'll always just be like a solo UGC creator, or do you think you could see yourself doing something like Savannah has done?
No, that actually gives me anxiety.
Really?
I'm already pushing it. I
know.
I'm like, you should do a cheat sheet.
I know.
You should do a
like,
value video.
I would never like. I just like working for my like just being me.
Yeah.
I like being in control of what I'm doing, and that's maybe that's a negative thing. Like,
nah, it's everyone's different.
That's a positive. I think it's the fact that you are self-aware enough to know what you want to do and what you're good at, like, and following your happiness rather than like, oh, I want to build this fucking mega UGC business, which may make me, you know, way more money in the grand scheme of things, but also it's like, you know, it's you wouldn't be happy.
Yeah. Like, I'm not like driven by money. Like I've said that to Paul. Like, you know, as long as I have enough to keep me, and I have enough, you know, when I have a house and things like that, and like freedom, and like freedom is, you know, the main thing that I wanted, and that's what I now have. So
exciting. Well, absolutely smashing it. So well done.
Yeah. The other thing on that, like, it has to match your lifestyle design, because we do a lot of travel. So we were just in Lisbon for a month there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just took the business. Nice. Jack went over first, and then we went over. We had another friend over, and we all just ran the business.
I've heard Lisbon is insane.
The first weekend I was there, we signed like 2 more clients.
Mad.
The energy changed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The space changed. It was awesome. There's lots of other digital nomads there, but it has to be what your goals are. Have to match the lifestyle you want. So I think that's right for you to be free and just take products away and keep traveling, because we want to do more of that. So to answer your question on my business, we're moving into this new office. It's a big space, building a whole studio in there, and so I want to make this next year really focused on building the team out, filling that space up, doing maybe some value masterminds or something in there to use that space. And ultimately, like, my goal, I'm not the best media buyer. I'm also not the best cameraman, but I've hired what I think is the best. I just want to build a big agency and see what we can do. Do you know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah, love it.
You know, come this far, we may as well give it a good crack.
Yeah, and I love that, what you said about the traveling. I'm actually looking to do in September. I'm looking to go to Bali for a month and work there.
Oh, definitely do it. It's now our thing now. Like, we've been doing this for a while. Where we just take a spot and work out there for a bit.
I think it's so important as well, like, going away, because then you appreciate like the life that you've built for you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always, like I said to Paul, even whenever I went to a travel Bali, but I remember saying, I want a job that allows me to come and live here for like 3 months or like whatever.
And even take Mondays off so you can come over to London and see the Chels as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's where you're off to next, see Chelsea. I have to
explain why I'm wearing this ridiculously blue top. It's a Chelsea top. We're going to Stamford Bridge right now. So
love it.
Let's go, the boys.
I've never met an Irish Chelsea fan, to be fair.
There's plenty of them.
Fair. Well, guys, really appreciate you both coming on. It's been great to like properly meet you both in person for the first time. Yeah, you're both absolutely killing it. I'll be continuing to watch your journey. Where can everyone find you if they need to?
So for Instagram, it is Rebekah Shirley _, and it's the same for Twitter. But Rebekah is REBEKAH.
Yeah, you got it wrong in the.
I've got it. In the what?
In the email or in the calendar.
Oh shit.
You know
I've done it. I've done it. I've done it in the contract before and had to go back and change it as well.
Oh,
and you never noticed.
No.
I didn't even clock that because I've done that before with Rebekah and then gone back and changed it in the contract. So I apologise.
No, you're fine.
For us, we're Lifelike Media on Instagram. If you want to follow my personals, paul.belfast. It's not terribly interesting. Actually, it is. Fuck that. Follow me.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to do the Twitter thing as well. I see everyone else doing it, but I'm not fully there yet. The energy's not going there. Yet.
Nice. Well, I'm sure you'll double down on that when you need to. But yeah, thank you guys. If you at home found this of value, please give it a like, share it with a friend. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cool.
Thank you so much.